Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. Today we've got the Monday Madness, that is the Mallard. Yep, it is Monday again, and I say Monday Madness because just before doing this video, I tried to do it on a few of the other videos. I'd like to have a little flick through. Now, obviously I did have a flick through a couple of weeks ago when I did originally plan to do this issue, but due to logistical reasons, I just could not do it last week. There's just not enough time in the weekend. Now, what I've had to do is actually redo this part that I did last time around, and I'll show you what I've done when we get over to the workbench. But ultimately, I spent about half an hour or so just fixing this. So hopefully there won't be any more problems today. There is quite a bit to do. We do need to basically assemble the tender, and then I think next week we are actually going to be moving on to the front bogey section. So I'm only going to do this issue, but there is quite a bit to do in it. So let's get into it. Let's get building.
Welcome to the workshop. Tools are ready to play. We're gonna build something great. Starting here today. Piece by piece we go now.
Right, so here we are. We have issue 90 of the Mallard. And I'll talk you through the little problem I had recently. So today we've got these parts here, which are the side inner supports for the tender. We've got two of those, and we did also get some wire. This is 1mm wire. I'm pretty sure I still got some 1mm wire in the box. We do need a few parts from before. So from issue 86, we need the front bulkhead floor, vent pipe brackets, 1.6mm wire. I've got a few of those bits. I think I need to get the 1.6mm wire. We also have the tender sub-assembly. That's from issue 88. 87, we need a tender front sub-assembly, right and left bulkhead rear detail angle plates. That's those, and I believe those. And issue 89, we need the tender deck sub-assembly, vent pipe mounting, flanges, which I believe is that and that. So, after getting all these bits in, that we need to put into the side here, I thought I'd just do a quick trial fit. So, when I brought this over, tried to slide this in, it basically wasn't going. It was getting that far and then stopping. What I'd done is these sections here that folded in, basically I'd put them on the edge of this part here instead of bringing them in so that these were flush with the edges. And to fix that problem, glue wasn't working, so I have resorted to soldering those. Not the best soldering job in the world, which is why I'm not soldering this kit, to be fair. But it will hold its position, and by the time it's all painted up, and obviously this bit's completely hidden anyway, you're not going to see it. The other issue I had is these bits kept falling off, even with glue. So you'll see that I've actually put solder on those as well. But that was my problem when I was just doing a test fit. It wasn't working, so I've managed to fix that this morning, and we can hopefully put the rest of this together without any issues. So let's just flick through the rest of the magazine. So as I said, we do need these parts, and we are putting it in like that. The front part's going on as well, and we're even putting this small floor assembly bit in as well that we bent up a couple of times ago. We've got the little flanges that are going to go in. Now, these pipes, I think we're just test fitting these, but we're not actually fitting them at the moment, as you can see here. Same with these little brackets. So the brackets and these pipes that we're bending are not going in this time around. This time we've got classic locomotives, and we've got Great Railway Journeys. Right, so first thing we're going to be doing is concentrating on these parts. basically we need to make a left and a right version of them. And for this section here, we basically need to file off a 45-degree angle. So we'll just get our file. Now obviously these are left and right, so when we do it, whichever the inner section is, we need to do 45 degrees in that direction. So if we do it like that, then they'll both be going in that way. Now it looks like it's only off of this section here. Now, I think what that is to do is to take this curve section that we put in. So it's just going to be a case of a little bit, and you might be able to see that that's starting to chamfer there. So I'll get all those done. I'll get this bit's done and this bit done on this one, and then I'll come back because you don't want to see me filing this way for the next 5-10 minutes probably. Right, so both of those, as you can see, have just been basically chamfered off to 45 degrees. And we're now going to take our tender body, and these are just going to sit in like that. Now, as far as I'm aware, they do go all the way to the back. We'll see. We're going to have this piece. It's going to sit right in there, so I'm sure that these do go right to the back. And you can see that they fit quite nicely in there. Let's see, this one needs to go this way around. So all I'm going to do is put some glue on the back of these, and I'll just place it in and stick it to the side wall like that. And while I'm doing this, what do we think of the new mat? So I've got a brand new mat now that I'm probably going to get glue all over. But decided to go for a nice blue mat today. Although you might occasionally see it green, because on the other side this has got a nice lime green colour as well. So I might mix it up every so often and go for the green. Or just wait until the blue side wears out and then it'll be green. Right, we'll just put that one in there, and I'm just going to use a clamp just to hold it in place. Like that. Going to do the exact same thing for this side. Obviously, making sure that you glue the correct side. Again, just going to clamp that while it dries. Right, while that's been drying and gluing, I have just gone and gathered all the other parts that I potentially need. So I take those clamps off. And next thing we're going to be doing is actually placing this in here. So that's going to sit on top of those points that we've just put in, like so. And we just need to basically do a bit of a dry fit at the moment. Right, so now at the moment this front section is sitting a little bit high. You can just not see that. So basically what we need to do, we need to file off a piece of these. So that's why we need to do the trial fit. So hopefully I can just pull this back out. So just going to take a file to this piece and just take it down. It looked like it was probably about 2 millimeters or so off from hitting on the bottom there. So I'll take about a couple mil off those. Right, so I filed down those two sections, and as you can see now, that front section is sitting all the way down flat, which is great. So again, that was just a trial fit. So pull that one out. We're basically in a position where we can glue this in place now. So we're just going to slide this back out. put some glue along the top edge of these two parts here, and then we'll slide this back in, push it down, and we'll have that glued in place. Just going to use the glue straight out of the bottle. And then slide this in place. Now I'm sliding in higher than the standoffs at the moment, so it doesn't glue anything that I don't want it to at the minute. And then we'll just push it down into place. Just going to hold that for a second, just make sure it is all gluing and holding where I want it to. So now that's in place, we can glue this section. Now we do have a couple of little tabs here that's going to come into a locating holes just down there. And I'm just going to put a bit of glue on top of here and on here. That's going to hold this section here. And then just going to run some glue along the bottom of these tabs. Now, I haven't put any glue on the rest of it at the moment, just because it makes it a little bit easier to get it into position. You can get that in position like that. Those lower tabs will hold that in place. Once I'm happy with the position, just grab a bit of glue and just glue up the other parts. Again, just going to hold that while the glue goes off. Right, so with that all glued in place, we have this piece. Again, we've got a couple of tabs on here that's going to go into a couple of locating holes on here. And I'm just going to do a dry fit and see how it fits in first. Looks like a pretty good fit. In fact, what I'm probably going to do is just leave that in place, and then I'll use a bit of rod and just run some glue into those spots. Just going to run a bit of glue along the front of here. And that should then hold it in place nicely. Right, just put that to one side for a second. We've got these two vent pipe brackets and these two brackets as well. Basically what we need to do is bend these very slightly so that they go in over these two holes, and then bend over that little curved section that you can see there. And then we need to temporarily place these in, and then we need to create a pipe that's going to bend over the top of it and then go into that hole. Now, all of that is only going to be temporary place because we're going to take them all off again. Apart from these two bits we do need to glue in. So I'll just get a larger set of pliers and just taking the edge of that flange really, I'm just going to gently bend it. Now if you use my pair of tweezers, hopefully you'll be able to see where this is going to sit. It's basically just going to line up with that hole there. Hopefully you can see that on one of the cameras. It's very tiny, but from the looks of it I need to do a little bit more bending just to get that to match that curve. Fairly happy with that fit, so what I'm going to do is just leave the tender like that so that it doesn't fall back down onto itself, and then just run a little bit of glue around it like this. That's going to be enough to hold that in place. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side. Right, next thing we're going to be doing is temporarily putting this in place. Now we've got two of these, one for this side, one for that side. Now, if you can see, it's actually got a tab on this side and a tab on this side. Now, I can understand the tab on that side because we do have a little slot for it to go into there, but there's no slot in this tender wall. So what I'm probably going to be doing, potentially take that off, but obviously I don't know if we're going to be adding something else to there, which this might go into. So as it's only temporary, I am just going to use a bit of tape, hold that roughly in place, which would be like that, and then we're going to use that as a bit of a gauge for creating our pipe that needs to bend over the top of that. Right, so we've got that roughly in place. Now, what the instructions are saying is we need to take one of these pieces and just position it just here. Again, it's not a permanent fix, so we're just sort of resting it there. And if that's the case, I'm probably not going to do that because I can guarantee that will get lost or something. What I'm going to do is just use that marker point there as a bit of a gauge and get this sort of bent and shaped into place. Now, we do need to make a sort of a hook shape. So basically we're looking for this. You can see it goes off down like that. And the reason we've got this bracket in place, you can see that it does bend out over that bracket and then go off into that hole there. So I'm going to try and create that shape and see how we do. Right, so that's pretty much going to sit just like that. I might need to bend this out a little bit further for that bracket, but it looks pretty good at the minute with that in place. So what I'm going to do is basically recreate another one of those for the other side, and then we'll be asked to put all of that to one side. So the pipe, the bracket, these two little connectors, and basically we won't be doing anything else with those for the minute. So as I said, all I've got to do is make another one of these, but that is all there's to do in that stage. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to hit the like button below and give us a massive thumbs up. So that's the tender looking pretty good now, almost complete. Obviously we've got a lot more details come on up here, and we've also got all the rear section to do as well. But looking really good. Oh, speaking of complete, it now has two screws in the bottom to hold the wheels onto the tender. I actually found the correct screws. We had them back in issue 68, and whilst looking for the parts of this, I found a bag labelled issue 68. Now, it was a bag with some wire in it like this, and just had two random screws in it. Wondered what those were. Went back through the issues, and 68 was when we got the bottom plate, those screws, bolts, etc. And yeah, no idea why I couldn't find it the first time around, because it was in the box. But never mind on that. So, obviously, if you want to see more of how this one progresses or anything else that goes on the channel, do remember to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell for notifications. That way you'll know when I release new videos. If you can't wait another week for a engine or train fix, on Tuesday night I'll be live streaming again and continuing the Lego Orient Express build. And that is what we've got so far after 2 live streams. So that's looking really good. So the next one will be creating the neck carriage, which I believe is the sleeping carriage. So yeah, check that out Tuesday night, live on the channel around about 8 o'clock UK time. But as I said, Mallard's now done for the moment, and we'll see more of that next week when we start concentrating on the front bogie, so we get a new part. Until the next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.